Hello, it's Colette from the Sacred Rose Temple, and I am here to give you this week's much needed energy forecast. So, welcome back, and what a week we have just had. I know it has been full of revelations and feelings, and some quite deep thickets of pulling out things that have been bothering us over the last few years, and it's ongoing this week is going to be a biggie too. And again, it's all being pushed and pulled by the astrology and how it's working with our individual psyches on the path that we're on and the spiritual work that we're doing as individuals. I think the biggest thing that is coming up this week is obviously tonight's full super new moon, and it's really close to Earth. That's why we're seeing it really big. And we know that this kind of has an effect on us. It pulls things from our psyche. It's asking us to really have a feel into some of those more heartfelt situations that we're in at the moment and to just do some kind of thinking around that, like what's going on in my heart at the moment, what's it showing me. It's asking us to envisage a new path ahead that doesn't look like the old path. And it's also asking us prepare for the new, like to really dream bigger, to have some goals and insights about what the future might look like for you. So I think we're all kind of crafting that in some way. It's going to usher in a really deep period that gets you to look at what you want. And that will include areas related to communication, learning, and being adaptable. It really is staring some changes for us. How adaptable are we to change? Really getting us to look at how we cling on. What do we hold on to? What can't we let go of? Or perhaps if you're quite fickle, what you can just keep letting go of, what you keep changing, what you keep moving. So it's asking us to really be aware of that and to embrace curiosity that invites in new situations, new conversations, diverse perspectives from your own, so that you can plant some seeds for intellectual and social things that you've not done before that can flourish in the next few weeks. So really kind of see what might be wanting to come in terms of doing new things and do them. I've recently just signed up for a couple of new ventures, and yeah, it's unlike what I've done before. So it brings in this energy of like facing different things and different people, different conversations, which variety, as we know, is the spice of life. But we can't ignore that this moon is working on the back of Saturn's transit into Aries, and we had that on May the 24th. I particularly felt that. This is the first time in nearly 3 decades that this cycle begins, and it really influences areas of discipline, responsibility, and structure related to the way that we personally move and how we initiate things. So it's also Saturn is like a deep forebringer of karma. And what I posted about over the weekend was that we might have felt that we are dealing with our karmic cycles. And this allows us to work in two ways, really. How have you been working? What have you been doing? How have you been treating people? What does your giving look like? What does your receiving look like? And knowing that whatever your position we're in, it's quite humbling, is just an outcome of the karmic cycle that we're in, what we've been doing, what we've not been doing. And so if you sat in your life thinking this has got to change, what aspect? It's basically been made through all your choices and all your behaviors. And what are they? What are those choices? What have been those behaviors that have led you to where you are at now? And do you like it or not? And if you don't like it, then there's that space that's asking us, well, what created it and how do you change that now? Because if you're still in those same patterns, you're going to get the same results. So it's about changing it. And it's difficult. I know I'm in some really deep patterns that I've thought I was aware of, and really I haven't managed to move them. And so they repeating. And so I'm trying to work on them very consistently at the moment to get to the underlying reasons that those behaviors are in. So yeah, you might also just rest assured that if you've been dealing with difficult energies, that you don't have to file for retribution or be the karmic server or get revenge, that karma will seek and sort all of us out. So we can drop the kind of persecutor, we can drop the victim, we can drop all them kind of stories we tell about ourselves in relation to others, and know that their karma is being served by their behaviors anyway. So we can let go of that. And that would be a good time to do it right now. So yeah, we're into a space of I really want to focus on this kind of there's a trine with Mars in Leo that happened on the 22nd, and it's really focusing hand in hand with this Saturn, and obviously with the moon that we're seeing tonight, that there is this kind of place that's coming up in the inner child. And I know that people have been feeling that this week in my groups. I know that I've been feeling this aspect of my inner child that has been coming up and time and time and time again. And now this inner child is here to say, this is why you're in this situation. This is from this wounding. This is from the trauma. And then this is how you've behaved because of it. And can you stop that? Can you stop being in these similar patterns? Can you notice that energy? Can you override that old response to be in these situations and with these energies? And so I think it's really, really worth looking at this, because it's all down to your ego development. You know, what kind of person are you? I've been dealing with women this week that are like shrinking violets, and they're hiding and they're not putting their light out there because of the way their ego developed as a child. And the same with shame. It will be coming up, low self-esteem, and all the ways we compensate for that initial upbringing as a child. And we almost ask ourselves, what is preventing us? You know, the as much as we hide and we're holding back our power, we may be in the opposite, where we're attention seeking, demanding, compensating, slightly narcissistic in our behaviors, wanting special treatment. It all comes from this inner child wounding. And it really is meant to take us into kind of that underworld space. The women in my group are currently in Persephone's underworld. And boy, all this is coming up, the inner child, the patterns that have been born from that, the current life situation because of that. And so this is deep learning for yourself and your ego. What is your ego like? Do you know your ego? What is it like? And I think it's super important question as we move through this week, as to know what your ego does. And mine's a mix of all of those things: compensating, low, shame. It's all of it. And so pick out what the ego is like. If you don't know much about the ego, Google it, look it up. What does it mean? And how do you operate from the ego? There can be an underdeveloped ego as well. This is all I learned within the Jungian framework. It was so interesting to see how my ego developed as a child, and then what that does to me as an adult. If you can get to grips with that, you start to kind of look at yourself from the outside, or as I say, in the inside. We start to look at from the self at these aspects and archetypes within our bodies, and we're able to kind of not merge with them totally, not be them, not behave in them, but realize there's another standpoint within our body that makes much greater decisions, not from wounding, not from hurt, not from these places. And who is that? And what does that part of us say? So yeah, this is really all up for grabs this week. I think really what we need to be looking at in key ways is authenticity in our expression. Are we really communicating from our true self, not from the ego, not from the wounds, not from the confusion, not from the chaos, but from that authentic space within ourselves? Are we embracing responsibility? Can we take ownership for the way our life is, that the choices we've made, that the way our egos developed and the archetypes that we're behaving in are the result of our life as we stand in it right now? And then how can we initiate growth from that? So what new learning can we understand about ourselves that could change the way we walk life? And then what new ventures or learning opportunities or development want to come in? Maybe new social settings. This will all really come up this week. So yeah, a lot again. And to me, it's really great food for my soul to work with these energies so that I can make impactful changes in my life and to others. So keep working in service, knowing that the more I'm healing, the more I'm learning about myself, the more I'm embodying, the greater asset I am to community and to those people that want to come and do courses and work with me. So we have to remember we are worth it. We are worth the time. We are worth the investment. And our little inner children this week will be really looking up to you to say, let's change this. Let's work through it. Let's come out the other side and let's step into a life that we really, really want and dream of. So I'm wishing you again so much luck for this week in working in these kind of areas. And I hope that it brings you much insight and food for working with. I have some lovely teachings this week. I'm teaching again this week on the sacred sexual. So we're working on the aspect of desire. And then always, as always, I will be doing a broadcast for my womb alchemy group as we leave Persephone and walk into Hecate. So you're able to still join these or the individual modules if something really resonates for you. And of course, I've posted this week details of a beautiful summit that I'm involved with for creativity and spirituality, and I'll be posting all the details of that underneath this video. So take a look at what's going on in my world, my courses, my interactions underneath the video. And until then, I will speak to you next week. So bye for now.